YouTube land, storied, fabled YouTube. There was that intro from way back when I used to do our live show. I had to stop doing the live show because it was way too much work. So we're going to just use the old intro and use it for this thing. Why not? It's fun. So yeah, that was that thing yesterday. So trying to change it different times. The reason why I'm so early today is because I have a lot of stuff going on this afternoon. So I figured we're going to go ahead and do our live stream in the morning, and then all my European friends will not complain that they have to go to bed early because you can watch it now live. Hopefully, probably while you're supposed to be doing some work. Hopefully, you're watching this when you're working. Or save it for later. I mean, these things age after, they're decent for a couple days. All right, so the topic I wanted to start today with, you guys can all hear me. Hopefully I'm not too loud. Hey, just thinking, yeah, European there. I got a lot of Europeans on the live stream. For some reason, I think I'm more popular in Europe than I am here in my own home country. It's funny. It's 10 p.m. now in your time. Oh, in Myeongwang. Oh, okay. Where are you? Whereabouts are you? Leave that comment in the section. Oh, you like the new video wall? I think I'm going to just change this every time I do a video. I'm just going to change the video wall because why not? That's why I got it, right? I mean, the whole point of having a video wall is so I can just change stuff up. Hello, Derek from LA. Hey, I could put your comments up. Why not? We're not quite at the AMA portion of the show, but why not? Hi from there we go. All right, this thing is my keyboard is not. I think my wireless keyboard battery is dying, so maybe we won't be able to do the keyboard stuff. But let me just where everyone's kind of rummaging in here. Let me rant a little about the topic of my video. Hi from Nepal, AM Pokhara. Last week, a friend of mine had a friend who had her husband die and wanted to, actually of the coronavirus of all things, and wanted a video of a photo montage, and it was like just a favor thing, and I'm like, okay, sure. So they gave me 100 photos and they gave me 2 songs to put it to, and the 2 songs ended up being about 7 minutes, and it was 100 photos. And I thought the family did a great selection of photos. It was wonderful. But the problem is 7 minutes and 100 photos. It's kind of like that fast. So each photo, and the client comes to you and says, we want each photo to be on screen for 2 seconds. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You want each photo to be on screen for at least 5 seconds, at least, 5 to 10 seconds. And the client will say like, okay, we want the whole video to be no more than 5 minutes long. No more than 5 minutes long. And you're like, no, you don't. Clients have no sense of timing. Like as far as how long things take. I do a student of the month program where we it's the silliest thing because I've done it for a couple years now, and they tell the students you all have a minute and a half to speak. No, you don't. No, you don't. You literally have students have they'll go on for 5 minutes, and then it's like teachers, you only have 30 seconds. No, you don't. I've not seen one teacher stick to 30-second rule. Their whole concept of 30 seconds is more like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. So they never ever. Clients never understand the concept of timing length. And then the other, so I do one project too, this one fundraiser project where they show, it's a dinner gala. So everything's kind of scripted out by the minute, but they only give the video, you have precisely 7 minutes for your video and not a second more. And then we shoot the video and come back and it's like, well, it works really great at 11 minutes. What do you want to cut out? And then then you start wondering why are we cutting out this video, which is very impactful if it's 11 minutes long. Very impactful. I mean, it's trimmed and tight, and it's a package at 11 minutes. But now you want to cut it out down to 7. You need to take out chunks of it that are not, and these are not pre-scripted videos. These are videos that are documentary. You just go out and shoot stuff, and then you come back and try to create something. You can't really squeeze it into 7 minutes, and then you're asking, why do you really need it to be 7 minutes then? You control the time. Not like we're going to broadcast television where you have a very specific time schedule. You're I'm only allotted 7 minutes and I'm paying by the minute for this TV show. you're a gala. You can just knock 3 minutes off the acceptance speech, or just let it go a little long. So what? Who cares? You know it's 11 minutes. Just schedule for 11 minutes. That kind of thing. I think you run up to this over and over again with clients. It's like they get this thing. So this funeral example. Again, I didn't. It was a friend of a friend, so I probably not watching. And if you are, well, I'm just talking about it, but I'm not. I mean, we came back. I went from a 7-minute photo montage. I added another song to it, and ended up being about 12 minutes, and it's really good. Like, the thing about photo montages, when I think people get overly obsessive about photo montages of trying to control everything. Sometimes with photo montages, you just put them out, put all the photos in there. If they're in the proper order, if they're like chronological, they'll tell a story, and it's amazing because you can just drop them all in there, and natural connections will start to be made. The music, if you time it just a slow enough pace, it'll time with the music, no matter what music you put on it. It's kind of scary how well that works. Things will just kind of naturally happen. But it's a really good 11 minutes. But they're like, well, the pastor says we only have 5 minutes. It's like, don't get this in your head. And people get this in their head that people don't have attention spans, that no one has an attention span. No one will sit there and watch it for 11 minutes. Are you sure? Because people do. And they showed the funeral. I showed it at the funeral, and then one of the family members says they watched it like 3 times after that. It was so powerful. Like, I watch it. I don't know the person. And I thought, wow, this is really pretty good. And I just threw the photos in there. It's not, there's not a big mystery to photo montages. I mean, you can do all the fancy pants effects and all that. I had a friend that, paid money for the big fancy photo montage software, and it looked great. But basic simple photo montage, it's you can get away with quite little, very minimal, and it works, especially with a funeral. You don't want like all potential fancy effects for a funeral. You want it to kind of be more, somber. And just show the photo, let people study it for a little bit, and then show the next photo and let people study it for a little bit. And that's really, really, really powerful. Versus like, people don't have attention spans. They will not sit there for more than 5 minutes. You'll bore the people. Not if you do it right. So anyhow, that is my rant. Now today I do have to run a little bit sooner than usual, so I won't be able to do our usual long marathon AMAs, but I will hang out for a little bit, and we'll just talk and chat and talk about cool stuff. I don't know. I haven't watched a thing in the last week. Man, oh man, that's crazy. All right, let's ask Zachary Condon asks a good question. How do you sell a client on that if you know your edit is really good but they're insisting on a worse edit? You basically end up ultimately having to do what the client says. It sucks, but like I had the thing about, I want to do a video about notes because I have a love-hate relationship with notes. First of all, I hate them because they're criticisms, and I hate criticism. Everybody hates criticism, right? But notes are a form of criticism, and sometimes when the notes are coming from a bad place, you're like, yeah, F yourself. But you're like, argh. But oftentimes the good thing about notes, what I've discovered, is notes are a way of getting the job done. It's like you don't have to guess what they want now. They're telling you what they want, and you just do what they want, and then you collect your check and you move on to the next project. So that's my love affair with notes. Is I love notes that are like actionable, and I do them, and then the job is done. And of course, you gotta get over the fallibility that, hey, look, I'm not. As much as I think I am the God among men and Lord and Savior of all you people. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not. I'm infallible. I'm fallible. I can miss things. I can, It's oftentimes with the notes is they'll point to something that you may have missed, that someone else is coming fresh to it, maybe can't articulate properly, and they're just saying, well, you need to fix that. But you're like, oh, I see what you're saying. You don't really want me to fix that. You want me to fix this other thing so that this thing works now. So how do you sell? Yeah. So how do you sell a client on a shorter cut? I mean, or not to go with the shorter cut. You make the cut and you say, okay, which one do you like better? Ultimately, I think the client's going to have to decide. And if they decide they want the shorter one, then that's what they want. And they pay you. That's the idea. Yeah. There's an idea. Oh, a funeral. says there's an idea, a funeral video, but high energy, upbeat rather than reserved and somber. Well, it depends on the mood. You got to read the audience. You can do the New Orleans funerals where you go down the street with a jazz band, that kind of stuff. There's a celebration style. So maybe what you would, a lot of times there's a great track by the Canadian brass. Every brass player plays this thing. It's just a closer walk with thee. It starts off with a real somber, just a closer walk with thee, and trumpet solo doing a da da ba da ba 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 da, and then halfway through it kicks up to the one ba ba da ba da ba 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 da ba 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 da. So it's a real fast jazzy tempo, and then it goes back to somber. So maybe with a funeral video, it's you start off somber, and then you kind of kick it in high gear, and then you show all the fun stuff. And then you end it with a photo, like a final photo and the date of the person's passing, and that's like that's a big cool video if you wanted to show at a funeral. I've been doing too many funerals right now. That's not good, and I can't tell you why. There's something else going on. Something going on with the world that is causing it. All right. Just think. It says I should do a video with the corridor crew. That video editing CGI IQ combined would all be great. Yeah, it'd be fun. They're up in LA. I don't know exactly where they are, but I recognize when they go on the streets. I recognize this place. But yeah, they seem like first of all, they seem like they're having way too much fun. I'm not having that much fun. I'm still very somber and I'm still salty, but they're having fun, and I'm like, I'm just sitting here. Oh, there you go. You should check out Future on YouTube for pricing creative services. Cool. Okay. I haven't heard of that one. Future. This looks like vMix because it is. Yeah, I'm running vMix software. I have a video I'm working on, which is going to be a video about how to set up a streaming stream. It's more about the philosophy and concept of it. Obviously, it's a huge world. I feel like I'm very inadequate in explaining parts of it. But you know what? I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to put it out there because I am going to. I think it will provide some value for people that are have no experience and are coming from it. And I talk more about philosophy than I talk about gear. I talk about concepts like the idea of audio and the idea of how to looking at a room and saying, okay, here's where I want to put my cameras. I don't go that much into detail, but I do. I try to reinforce the idea that you have to get an idea what you want the thing to look like before you go out and start buying stuff, which I feel like is the opposite of what people do. They buy stuff and then they try to figure out how to make it look good. Mario asks, what is the next big project? I don't know yet. I have the Fox Studios video written, a first draft. I need to go back and do it, rewrite it. That probably will be my next bigger Filmmaker IQ project. Oh, Koska asks, can you say happy birthday to my friend Bailey? Yes. Happy birthday, Bailey. You can cut this part out and send it to him. Happy birthday. Let's do it one more time. Happy birthday, Bailey, from John Hess at Filmmaker IQ. Go make something great. There you go. Cut that out and send it to him. There you go. Yeah, Zabian says, or Zebadian says, don't show, tell is a good way of selling alternative views of a product to clients. Isn't that the hardest thing? It's I have a lot of cool ideas for commercials or whatever products, video products, whatever. I've got a lot of cool ideas I want to do, right? The problem is I see stuff and I research stuff, so I have an image in my head of how things are going to go. But if I describe it to you, it doesn't seem to come across it, and it doesn't really play across very well. So oftentimes you just have to make it, or you have to find, you have to okay, here's what the mood board looks like. This is what I'm thinking, right? You need to visually sell. You need to visually do it in order to sell something. Sherrod says, do I work as a freelancer as well? I primarily work as a freelancer. YouTube is my background gig. It's my second gig. I wouldn't mind. I keep thinking about it. I wouldn't mind this taking over more and doing less freelancing. And it may be well. We're trying to do it. Hey, Derek says movie theaters reopen on LA Monday. Ching! I'm going to go to the movies then, if they're open again. If my theaters are open, I know our county went. I know because you tune in to the Filmmaker IQ live show every Wednesday, sometime during the day. Who knows when it is? You tune in for my latest news about coronavirus. No, my county just also went to the red zone, so we're out of purple, we went to red, which is weird. Well, it should be the other way, I think, around. Wouldn't you think? But we're in red zone, so I think they're opening some things, like indoor dining is back, and which is great because it's freezing cold for March weather. So freezing cold. Charles Hoffman says that greeting shows you're ready to sign up for gigs for Cameo. I don't think anybody would buy anything because I don't think my birthday greeting is worth anything. Oh yeah, it's, Snyder Cut. So the Snyder Cut is coming out tomorrow. Super excited. You know what? I will watch it because I've kind of come to the point where I don't have much to watch right now. Like I don't have anything. I don't have a show that I'm working through or working on, and I'm just when I find myself at home, if I'm bored, I'll on it. Right now I'm playing a lot more video games with my friend Joe, doing the 7 Days to Die game. We've been messing around on that, and that's what I've been doing. And I haven't been sitting. I haven't sat in the couch and watched something, and the Snyder Cut will be kind of an excuse. That will at least take 4 nights because it's broken out into 4 freaking hours, right? What's my theater of choice? It would be the AMC. Why? Because I have an AMC. Used to have an AMC pass. Used to have one of those AMC, whatever they call them, what do they call them? The A plus, I don't forget. It's been so long. It literally has been so dang long. I had that pass where you get 3 free movies a week, and I'm like, well, sign me up, because I love the. We talked about it before, probably. I loved the movie pass back in the old day. I loved that thing because I would just go to the movies. I would go see any movie. I just see, I'd see movies I wouldn't even see at home. I just go to the movies because I can get in for free, right? But then MoviePass decided that they were going to really restrict what you could see. And that one weekend I wanted to see, it was like five weekends after Mission Impossible had opened. 5 weekends after the Mission Impossible had opened. Mission Impossible, the last one. And they still wouldn't give me a free ticket. And I had a choice either between Slender Man, or like some really, really bad comedy that I really didn't want to see. So I was like, okay, well, I forget this thing. I canceled my movie pass. But then AMC offered their thing, and for like 25, I think it was $24, $23.97. For $24 a month, it was like 3 movies a weekend you could go see, and then they give you after a certain time they give you like free popcorn. So I'm like, I'd do that. So I like that. AMC stock. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with their stock. I've been out of the stock game forever. Like I had Google stock I bought Google stock way back in 2005, and I sold it in like 2008. Made a nice chunk of change on it because I needed the money. I was kind of getting really broke at that point, so I needed the money. I sold it, and I haven't been back to stock trading at all. It's too much like gambling for me, just too much. So I just gave up on it. I should probably put my money into like long-term investments, or just spiders, or what do they call them? Market, the whole market thing rather than individual stocks. Yeah, I just finished filming an ad for a client. When they saw the video, they finished said it was okay, but they wanted to change the script, script that they approved. Well, that's when you charging them more. So, that's what the great thing about the hourly rate. It's like, okay, you want to do it, you want to make the changes. I'm not going to grumble. You're paying me. You pay me by the hour. Go ahead. Let's make some more changes. Let's go. Come on. You want to change that? Yeah, bill you another hour. Yeah, that's the only problem. That's the problem when you bill by the project is when the client just drags the project on forever. So billing by the hour is like way more relaxing. Like, you want changes? Yeah, sure. Another hour. 24 or 60. Oh, my vMix is going crazy again. I don't know. I think it's something to do with this computer or something like that. I don't know. Maybe this monitor, because we were doing a live stream the other night for a school district with this very same computer. It had no issues whatsoever. Or maybe because I'm on a different screen, and that's probably what it is. vMix is not in the foreground. Uh, what do you think of Kurosawa? Are you kidding me? I love Kurosawa. ETFs. That's what I think. That's what I meant to say. I'm pretty sure, right? When a client drags things out, there's sometimes comes a time you have to fire them. I've had to fire a few clients because I like one. Okay, I'll tell you one story. I'll tell you a story because I don't think it's going to be too much trouble. I had a client that worked. It was an advertising agency. It was a married couple, lovely couple, and this. They did a lot of work. I started out working with the cable company. I interned with the cable company, and I broke off when I stopped being an intern. I broke off and became free agent, and I started working with people in the cable company. And this one advertising client, lovely couple, right? But it got to the point where they would send me out to do these, I did a pizza restaurant. I'll go ahead and tell the whole story. I did a pizza restaurant that wanted to do some photos of their food. So and I was not a super proficient photographer, but I went out and just shot some food pictures. And then they said, okay, send me the raw photos. Like, I don't care, I'll send you the raw. So I sent them the raw photos, but they were the camera Canon RAW. And you could open them in Photoshop. You could open them in the latest version of Photoshop, at that time CS2. And the client came back and said, we can't open these. It's like, why not? You're an advertising agent. Don't you have Adobe? Don't you have Photoshop? That's what you do. No, we have an older version of Photoshop. So anyway, they weren't happy with the photos because, well, they're raw and you have to process them. You can process them, make them look good. I mean, yeah, they probably shot a little bit too dark because that's the point. You shoot raw a little bit, you can move them around. You can do anyhow. They didn't realize that, so they're upset with me. And then another pizza company that they did one of these menu boards. So I made a menu board, and then the intern working there at this advertising agency just had a way of wording emails that kind of annoyed me. They kept asking me what the status was on this pizza board. And it's like, it's your client. You're the one like working. You just tell me what to do and I do it. Why do you keep asking me the status? You're the client. It's your client. So quit asking me what. And I just I just wrote back like, it's your guys' client. You guys have to you tell me the status. I'm not chasing them down for you. That's not my job. You're the ad agency. In fact, you would be more protective of your clients. You don't want me poaching them. So anyhow, it ended up being the guy, this advertiser, ended up calling me and yelling, and we got a heated conversation, yelling on the phone. It's like cussing each other out on the phone, and I just fired him right there and there. And then later he went on, he became a congressman. He became a congressman, right, of a county north of me, and then he was like, oh, he's a congressman. He gave up advertising. He was a U.S. congressman for about one term, and then I think I want to say he got embroiled in a sex scandal, like bad, and his wife, who was the sweetest person in the world, literally got trashed in the whole situation. He in a scandal with his whatever with a secretary, and I think he either did not get reelected or resigned, kind of in disgrace. So, don't yell at John. That's not good. Sonny Boo. Hey, Sonny Boo, how you doing, man? It's been a long time since I've seen you. You asked, do you find that commercials are going more toward 24? Yeah, I think commercials are all now 24. And I think you would deliver in 30, but they're all 24. And I think they've been that way for a long time, because if you go back into the old days, when things were shot on film, the commercials that were high end were shot on film. And guess what film is? 24. I worked with Sizzler. So Sizzler is the 2 doors down my office is actually an old friend of ours, a community friend that owns a bunch of Sizzlers. So Sizzler corporate will send us the actual film, all the B-roll stuff that they shoot, the steaks flying and fries, exploding all over the place. And if you look at that, it's in 30 frames a second. But if you click frame by frame, you see that 1-1-1-2 1-1-1-2 1-1 turn pull down. So it's 24. So yeah, plenty of commercials. Almost all, I think all commercials are shot 24. I don't think most. I think most commercials want that film look, that high end look. Note to self: ask your client if he has any aspiration. Actually, when the client was when I was still had that as a guy as a client, he actually ran for city government, and I did a city government ad for him. So he ran for like mayor. But yeah, it's funny because it's like a meteoric rise and then fall down to earth. And then the wife who had divorced him, she called me up like not too long ago and said, "Hey, you still in business? Like, I just want you to know I'm still doing advertising, and if I ever need, would you be willing to work with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll work with you because I don't have a problem with you. You were awesome." She's the sweetest lady in the world. She's pretty too, but she's the sweetest lady in the world. I mean, but her husband, her husband was one of those guys that was really friendly. He's not like the alpha male asshole that you're imagining. He's like, he's kind of a nerdy, like get along with you, really nice kind of guy. But then underneath that is like that evilness, the very darkness. I'm probably like that too. I'm probably got that underneath, grumble, angry. And all this is just a facade. This is all just a facade. Well, I don't think I want to be. Just thinking sex scandals, I don't know, maybe. My old partner, I'll just put this on the screen here. My old partner would say, there are certain rumors about me that people would believe, and a sex scandal would probably be something that people would believe about me, but not like a violent crime. You couldn't imagine me doing a violent crime, but a sex scandal, I don't know. John seems like somebody that would do that. All right, technical question. What camera am I using? Right now, I'm using the C200. Last time I was using the C70. I really do like the C70 because I had the C70 with the C70 with the focal reducers. It's the Canon speed booster. It's not a speed booster because that's a trademark, but it's a focal reducer. It's the same thing. And it allows me to go to f2.0 with that lens, and I can make the background a little bit blurrier. Right now it's an f4. So so that's what I'm using right now, and I'm using that C200 hooked up to a computer running vMix through the Black Magic Design DeckLink Duo, which is how I'm getting the signal into the computer. I don't know. You seem like a guy who could tilt back a pint or two. I have a friend of mine, Eric, that it was actually did some stuff. Did a part of our film noir contest way back when, but he's a beer enthusiast, beer crafter of many fine brews, and we used to have like big giant parties at his house. But I would be known for having a mead chaser. We would do these what do you call them, the dark beers, not the IPAs, obviously not, but the stouts. We do stouts, but then we try like 30 stouts, but in order to and it was a group of people. It wasn't just one per, there's like 15 people there, and we all had our little taster glasses. We'd just taste the stout. But after every stout, I would take a meat chaser because just to change it out a little bit. Daniel Saldivar asks, Airy versus Red. I have used neither, so both. I mean, if like, just purely on the brand name, I would just go with Airy. Just because, like, to me, Airy sounds more professional. Not that Red doesn't sound professional, but, like, Airy's just got this mystique. It's like, oh, Airy, I kind of lump with Panavision. Like, oh, Panavision. Ooh, cool, Panavision. And Red's sort of more... honestly, Red gets on my nerves because people are so anal. It's not anal, but so the culture around Red is so annoying. So... that's why I would avoid Red. But then again, I have a friend. I worked with the local Indian casino that has these Red cameras, and I worked some of the footage, and it looked great. It's great. So I wouldn't. These are minor quibbles. If you said, John, here's a project you can we only shoot with Red. Are you okay with that? I'm like, yeah, of course. Oh, hey, drummer, D Dummer, thank you for drumming by. I just kind of threw all some of your old comments here. Let's see. Oh, Arri since 1917 must be doing something right, eh? I know. If you go to NAB too, if you go to NAB when you go walk around the showroom, like of all the cameras, the Hollywood cinema style cameras, there's a lot more Arris on the floor than there are Red. In fact, 3-1 Arri on the floor than Red. Like every booth that's demonstrating something is usually flying an Arri, flying like that. They're not flying. I mean, flying's a steady cam term, but they're usually like a red in the shots this year. Oh crap! Stimulus money. That's right. Oh crap! No, I mean I did my taxes the other day. I gotta admit, because I'm an essential worker, being in the communications, I got a lot of work in 2020, and as far as doing running around doing videos for school districts and cities, and just being super busy, and so I actually had to pay quite a bit of taxes, and I have made it. I make so little money that I've been able to kind of show the IRS, hey, look, like, yeah, I made this, but I spent all of this on like rent and stuff, equipment, because there's a lot of equipment here. So I truthfully was able to show that I did not really make much money until last year, and I couldn't hide that. So yes, IRS took a pound of my flesh there. Oh gosh. Yeah, so it's like IRS is a shell game, basically. It's like, here's $1,400. Oh, here's the rest of my money. So it's just back and forth. Do you have... Whoops, I'm trying to read. Do you happen to know which camera the portrait lady was shot on? No, IMDb will tell you that, usually. If you go to the technical side of it. If you might... IMDb Pro is actually worth getting if you want to kind of get into it. IQ, do you believe in sex transmutation? I really don't know what that is, but sure. Sounds sexy. Sounds hot, right? Assuming all else is equal, does a full-frame lens on a cropped body affect the EOF? Oh my god, I love this question. It would seem that it wouldn't, as long as the image circle would change. Yes, it does. So I want to do a video on the Zen of depth of field. So what do you mean all else equal? Like, because that's a big assumption. And remember that depth of field is really just it's a concept, it's a perception concept. So the same sensor can deliver more depth of field or less depth of field depending on how big you blow up the image. That's why when on the back of your camera you have that magnification button. So if you magnify it, you see shallower depth of field. So that way you can tell what's in focus, right? So you can judge your focus better. And if you hit that back and you see the full screen, you can't tell anymore. So the depth of field literally changes when you hit that magnification button. So that determines how the crop sensor and the full frame sensor changes. The crop sensor will be blown up more, so therefore the depth of field is shallower. But then you use a different lens, and if you use a different lens, shorter focal length will have a shallower depth of field, or a deeper depth of field. They'll counteract. So, anyhow. Harold's cat. Hey, Harold's cat is back. Harold's cat is back. We all love Harold's cat. All hail Harold's cat. For some reason, the people were excited about Harold's cat last time. So why not? Join the fun. Harold's cat. Welcome. Meow meow. Sorry. I apologize. I did not mean to make a slur there. I know. The best camera to buy on a small budget is a BMPCC worth it. I think a small budget, you're just better off buying. I'm a used person. I like buying used pro gear. I buy used pro gear over I'll go online and I'll look at cameras and I'm like, oh, let me buy the used one. If I could knock off a few $100s and get a used thing, because professional gear it holds up. Holds up pretty well. If you're on a budget, buy a used camera, and then I wouldn't put that much money in a camera and invest more in or at least spend less money on the camera. Put some money in the lenses, put some money into lights, put some money into tripods or camera stabilizer. Those, I gotta admit, those gimbals are pretty darn cool. I gotta admit it. I was not a fan before. But for small jobs and for small cameras, they're fun. They're really cool. So I would spread your money around a little more if you're on a super small budget. Like don't. The mistake is the thing the camera needs to occupy the entire budget. How's my animation going? I haven't had time to work on it lately. I've got to go back, and I did do some backgrounds for the second chapter, but I haven't gotten around to doing more. So I got to go back and do some more drawing. There we go. I still understand how 16 millimeter film can be transferred to 35 millimeter and maintain aspect ratio. Just blow it up both ways. Blow it up both, and then you can maintain your aspect ratio. Quite sure. There you go. Why is it so much easier to restore film and convert it to 4K 60 FPS while it's harder to do things shot on tape? I'm not quite sure why. I would argue that film wouldn't be converted to 60 FPS because film was shot at a lot of these projects. You see the San Francisco shot in 60 FPS 4K. That was shot like at 15 frames a second. Or 12 frames a second. I mean, it was hand cranked, so who knows whatever speed that they were cranking it at. Things shot on tape. Things shot on tape too, because tape has a limited resolution, whereas film was not limited by resolution. So you could pull a lot more from film than you can from a what you call it, video. So here we are. What lenses do you recommend for a Pocket 6K less than 2,000? I think with Pocket 6K, my thing's going crazy again. With the Pocket 6K, you have quite a bit of options. I mean, is the Pocket 6K? There it goes. Come on. Is the Pocket 6K 30 Super 36 Super 35, or is that the 4/3? I think it's Super 35. Well, the Super 35, there's a lot of options. Is it MFT? I don't know. But less than 2,000, you got quite a range of stuff. I am a fan of the Canon lenses, so there's plenty of the Canon lines that you can get. One I can recommend for sure is a Tamron 24 to 70 millimeter. I use that a lot. It's an f2.8, and it gets a lot of use because it's so versatile. And it's a good looking lens. So. That's one I could recommend. It's like $600 or $700. So if you get that, maybe get yourself a fisheye, get yourself a super telephoto, and you're rocking. Dad says it's always the glass and the lens, not the camera. I would agree with that. Yeah, C200 will take you a long way. If the client wants red or air, you rent it and charge them. Exactly. I've had one, like once in a while I have a client ask me for an equipment list, but you're like, yeah, you don't really know what that's for, do you? It's like somebody told you to ask for an equipment list. All right, here's my equipment list. C200. I got C70, C200. What else I got? I got PTZ cameras. I've got a Canon XC15. I've got some Sony cameras lying, or Sony older EX1s. I've got the C1. That's too old. I got a Blackmagic Cinema camera, the original one, lying around here somewhere. And then I can rent you whatever you want. That's a great. Check out LensPro to Go or LensRentals.com. Either one of those guys. You just rent anything you want, and it's relatively inexpensive too. Yeah, Charles Hoffman says money into sound equipment. I forgot about that. I always forget about sound, but definitely, yeah, put your money into sound equipment too. Meow Wang says, I'd love to do some tests on DLF thing, but I don't have full frame camera. It's very hard to test depth of field. Like we're in this world where we're in a technological, kind of shroud where we think we can measure everything. But how hard it is to measure, let's say, I don't know where you are. Let's just use metric because I think everyone speaks metric outside the U.S. You know how hard it is to measure 3 meters but be accurate down to the millimeter? It's really, really hard because part of the problem is you don't know if your tape measure is precisely oriented in the right way, if you're getting a slightly off angle. It's really, really difficult. So the DOF calculators kind of give you a false sense of security. I know I'm within 1 centimeter of this location. I know I will be in focus. Eh, it's who knows. So doing a DOF test is really, 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 really difficult. However, if you watch my DOF video, I do kind of demonstrate the two. But you also got to remember you have to treat everything equally. So if you blow one image up, you have to blow the other image up too, the same way. Anyhow, I'm going into a lot of detail. Probably a lot of you are probably bored already by it, but you can check out the video on DOF. I did a video on depth of field and camera equivalence, which is a good start. And then you can watch like the deep focus video goes into it some more. So those are some really good. Pocket 6K is Super 35. Cool, good to hear. Yeah, so if it's that, then definitely a lot of Canon lenses will work on that. And I like that's Tamron was a good recommendation that I like. Can you express your perspective on South Asian movies? I want to understand the West expects the region. Don't know 2 billion people, almost 2 billion people from here, but no Oscar. Well, here's the thing: South Asian movies, you're not Americans. Oscars are American. It's an American. AMPAS is the Academy of Motion Picture Sciences, but it's really an American invention. So it's an American awards ceremony. That's why we have Best Foreign Film. It's not a world cinema thing. It's a Hollywood thing, and it's always been a Hollywood thing. Like the thing I want to remind people, when Louis B. Mayer, who was one of the people that organized the Oscars. The reason why the Oscars existed was because he realized that you can get stars and you can get directors, you can get people in the industry to work to do things for you if you give them a prize. It's literally like The Office where they give out prizes. It's like, oh, the prize for the best, the most cheery disposition goes to Meredith. That's really what the Oscars are for. It's a power thing. It started off that way. At least started off as a power thing. It grew obviously to a cultural thing. So I wouldn't expect any South Asian movies from being in the Oscar contention. Just like there are no African movies that are in Oscar contention, in the main category. And there are some British films, obviously, but Britain and America kind of shared culturally. And there are no German films in the main Oscar category. There are no Spanish films. So, someone finally picked up on it. Yeah, my Jessica Rabbit. I just finished her. I'll show it to you. I just finished her yesterday. I've been actually getting into 3D printing a lot. Also, let me get rid of that little graphic. So I 3D printed this. This is a model I found on, I think it was CG Trader. It's like $3. It was really. The only problem with that model was that the head won't actually. It's broken into pieces, but the head won't fit into the hair because the hair surrounds her head, so you can't squeeze it in there. So I had to cut the hair in half, and you can't see it because I was able to put it back together. Slice the hair in half, and then put the head in there, put it all together, and then filled it and all that. So I've been doing airbrushing and 3D printing and all that stuff. So, and I like this Jessica Rabbit because it's not as overtly vampish as the animated one. It's more of an anime kind of cartoony, a little more friendlier looking Jessica Rabbit. So I kind of dig this girl. So she goes back. Thank you for noticing. I like noticing and stuff like that. Alrighty. Yeah, Parasite's a good example. Parasite did get an Oscar. Remember that? Well, the thing about Parasite you remember too is movies that get into the Hollywood system become Hollywood. Like Parasite, for all intents and purposes, has now become a Hollywood movie. So it's inside the Hollywood ecosystem. And of course, Parasite was the first too. It was one of the very, very first. There you go. The Oscar for the cheeriest disposition goes to. Yeah, that's Daniel asked that. I was actually driving in this morning thinking I was going to get myself a Maltese Falcon. I want to do that, and I want to do the fertility idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like I want my whole set to be just artifacts from films. Maltese Falcon, art. I've got a Jack Skellington bust that I want to work on eventually, but my 3D printer is down because I broke off the little touch sensor doing something. Hollywood is increasing its value by including other languages films in their main categories. So when they give it to the people, their value. So you got to be careful. And this is a delicate topic to talk about. But the fact is, it's one of those situations where South Asian countries will watch American films, but Americans won't watch South Asian films. There's a disconnect because America, it's a cultural kind of export import kind of thing. Whereas that's my old partner used to talk about, like, making a movie in another country besides America might be a little bit easier because you are not competing against. You have your own local cultural film. Like, let's just say Vietnam. Vietnam has their own local Vietnam cinema, and then they have American cinema if they import. I don't know if they do. Maybe Vietnam's not the biggest. Let's go Philippines. The Filipinos, because I know Philippines have a pretty strong cinema industry. So there's a Filipino industry, and then there's the Hollywood industry import, right? So if you're making Filipino films, you're really competing against other Filipino films, where the pool is smaller, the competition's the money isn't as big as Hollywood, right? But in America, you're competing directly against Hollywood. There is no Nevada cinema culture of just movies made in Nevada that have success in Nevada. No, there's not that. You're literally competing directly against the main Hollywood product. So anyhow, take that for what it's worth. Hey, Conan the Barbarian sword. That's a good idea. A multi-pass. I should get one of those. Yeah, definitely multi-pass. Yeah, there's so much stuff I want to do. 3D print a life-size bridge of the USS Enterprise. I was thinking about doing something from. I want to do a Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, I want to do a Battlestar Galactica. That's what. Oh, he's talking about the foreign film category, but never mind Oscar. I just wanted insight into what Western perspective of South Asian films. There is no Western perspective because we don't really get South Asian films. They're not playing here because this is just not what people in the States here are interested. Westerners are not really that interested in watching South Asian films. I mean, it's a general blanket statement, I know, and it's maybe if I mean, look, like the kind of movies that are made in I'll take that back. It's not the kind of movies, but the kind of movies that are typically associated with foreign films. Probably lower budget, kind of thing. They don't do well. Even Western versions of that don't do well. So it's one of those things where the hot properties are not coming out of South Asia. Now sometimes they are. Like you take something like I know this is not South Asia, but Mad Max from Australia. A lot of Australian cinema. It's a fascinating. If you want to look up history, look up Australian cinema history, because there's a lot of things that came out of Australia that are like, wow. Peter Weir, obviously Mad Max, and I forget the director, George something or other. I forget. George Miller, is that the name? Yeah. So a lot of stuff came out of Australia that's interesting. But it was very much of a scrappy kind of kick up and start up. Obviously, Australia has the advantage of being the same language as Hollywood, so you can a lot cross between those two. But yeah, it's like the old line out of Mad Men, where the guy where Don Draper says, "I just don't think about you." And I know it's harsh to hear, but Westerners don't really think about cinema outside the Western world. It's the way it is. Let's see. Hi, John. What is the set feature film different between that difference that short? What the heck? What is the set feature film different than the short and TV series story-wise, and is feature about 70 minutes to 130. If yes, why? It just is. I think they figured out that the feature-length film was basically how long an audience could hold their bladder. That's basically why they picked that length. I mean, it's arbitrary. So, story-wise, obviously, it's just shorts are much more compact. TV shows can be more compact, although modern idea is to spread a TV show out over several episodes and make a series and tell a 6-hour story, which is great, too. Daniel says, my local film group play foreign films. So generally, those wouldn't sell that much, like 50 to 70 people compared to like 277 when we screened Lady Bird. When I used to do photos on Facebook, I talk about this a lot. I used to post photos of celebrities or film artists, filmmakers, and we used to play games too on Facebook where I would put a photo of like Jack Nicholson and write Cesar Romero, stuff like that. But anyhow, whenever I posted a film star that was a Indian film star, it would get like 200 likes. If I post a photo of a Western film star, somebody like Robert Downey Jr., it would get like 5,000 likes. So it's, and these likes weren't coming from just the United States either. They were, obviously, our second biggest market actually, in Facebook, ended up being like Tehran. Tehran loved our stuff, and they loved American film stars, not the Southeast Asian film stars, or the funny thing, like with Parasite winning, there was a huge push toward Korean films, but the fact is not really Korean films. It's Bong Joon-ho, whatever his name is, the director name. I'm butchering it, but it's interested in him, not necessarily all South Korean films, but just his films. So. Laplace asks, what is the role of second AC? Watch my video on the roles of the camera people, but depends on the production, but second AC is the camera clapper person? Or, yeah, right? Assistant camera? I think that's the clapper person. Eat, Pray, Love has some Indonesian locations. Maybe U.S. star in the Southeast Asian film would be the best way to get U.S. mainstream. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know what, like Southeast Asian, are we talking India? Or is that considered Southeast Asia? Or are we talking more like Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, that kind of area? Charles Hoffman says, we have a large South Asian population here, large enough that one local movie theater showed a lot of Bollywood films. Cool. So the audience is American, and for South Asian film is mostly recent immigrants. So the audience in America for South Asian film, I would guess so. It'd be kind of, that's cool that you can actually have a theater that can show some of the South Asian stuff. There you go. South Asians just stop seeking validation to be content. You will be the greatest. Art is subjective after all. And you got like 2 billion people to serve. You don't need the American audiences. That's kind of like the last couple weeks ago I was saying, don't compete with Hollywood. Just don't. Make your own thing. Do your own thing. So, Sam T makes a good point here. Isn't the award functions like the Oscars and the artistic ventures pointless? Awards in sports make sense. You have an objective point of view in sports. However, films are subjective. Then why awards? I agree 100%. And it's kind of what Marlon Brando did when he sent that lady dressed as a Native American to accept his Oscar. Kind of just like F you to the Oscars. I mean, like, because I guess you should probably do a video on it eventually, but like the history of the Oscars is started by Louis B. Mayer to get people to do things they wanted them to do. So you can get a Hollywood star to like agree to make a film if you promise them a shiny gold medal at the end of the road. And then if you think about that, like all the awards, like, I used to do the Chamber of Commerce Awards. I didn't do it this year because I guess the pandemic killed it. But like Business of the Year okay, they won Business of the Year, and the next year they're out of business. What does it mean? No, it means nothing. Lifetime Achievement Award, just accolades. Like, you realize how pointless the accolade is they only give it to people just for name recognition. You don't actually go give it to the best movie around. You give it to the most popular movie. So, Let's see. Nobody asked why they changed the country name from Persia to Iran. I don't know. There's probably a story behind that I'm not aware of. What do you think about Bollywood movies? I really haven't watched Bollywood movies. What is your microphone? Today we're using the Rode Broadcaster. Back when Rode was a sponsor, they sent me a bunch of microphones. This is very nice for podcasting. I think it sounds good and it works well, and it looks okay on camera. It looks pretty good on camera. Last couple weeks, I was using a wireless lav mic, and I had my phone, my old rotary telephone, not rotary telephone, my old style phone on my desk, and people were thinking that I was using it as a microphone, but I wasn't. Why does Australia have such strict censorship? I don't know. They don't obviously have the freedom of speech that we have in the United States. It's a constitutional right, which I very much strongly stand behind. But other countries don't have that, and that you have to ask them why. I don't know. It's pretty much the same for any entertainment awards. Look at the Grammys. They had a former president of the Grammys say that voting was fishy and lacked transparency. Yeah, you know how the Oscar voting works? It's kind of funny. You vote for the top one, you vote for like your top 5, and then then they're weighted differently. So it's conceivable that the winner, the Oscars, the one that wins the Oscar, is actually like third choice, but because everyone put it down as their third choice, but they all disagreed on the first two, that ended up being it get promoted to the best picture. So it's bizarre. You know, it is what it is. It's, you know, you kind of buy into for the fun of it all, but I mean, the dream used to be that I would like to win an award. I think every filmmaker imagines themselves giving an Oscar speech, but I mean, is it worth it? And you see all the money that these studios throw at the Oscar race. You know, like it's basically a marketing thing. So the more you see of it, the more like, I don't really care. I mean, it's fun. If I were to ask you to suggest the best movie which you ever watched, what would you suggest? I'd probably tell you to go watch Doctor Strangelove. Well, that's just me. Do you feel formats like CinemaScope would go obsolete with the rise of streaming services because there's no big screen experience per se? I don't think so. Like, it always comes down to like, do you think something will go extinct? It's like everything's so binary with you guys. The questions. I'm picking on you, Oliver, but like it's always binary thinking. The thing that are books extinct? Is radio extinct? Is television extinct? Are theaters really extinct? And then streaming services, are they not showing stuff in CinemaScope and scope aspect ratios? Well, they are. So I don't think anything goes extinct as long as there's an audience for it. What do you think about Sergio Leone? I think he owes me some. I once hired him to paint my chicken coop, and I paid him in pancakes, and he never ever finished the job. He walked off. So that's what I think of Sergio Leone. Paint my chicken coop. All right, that's a deep Simpsons reference. So if you didn't get that, I feel sorry for you. You didn't have a childhood like I did. Do you think superhero movies will perish like westerns and rom-coms? Oh my God, I hope rom-coms don't disappear. No, I don't think they go. I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think westerns have gone anywhere. Westerns kind of morphed into basically every other genre. There you go. That's kind of fun. My friend would have Oscar parties and people would bring food related to the film. Call Me by Your Name was brought peach cobbler. I would go to that party, man. That sounds like fun. Using Oscars as a market tool was probably birthed by Taxi Driver, since the studio didn't know how market this movie with audiences. I find it really funny. I don't think it was birthed by Taxi Driver. I think it's been used forever. Is filmmaker IQ extinct? Well, I'm here, aren't I? It's just changing. I gotta evolve, man. You can't stay together. You can't be the same thing forever. Video killed the radio star. It sure did. Sure did. If you watch So I've been going down the rabbit hole. If you watch Video Killed the Radio Star, there is a version out there. It's a German music video. Watch the German music video, and the guy on the keyboards is Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer, the guy, yep, the same Hans Zimmer. Your tip for aspiring writers on how to get their script at least noticed by a studio? Wink, wink. Oh, cool. It's almost time I gotta get going. Iran is the way we call our country amongst ourselves. Persia is the name given to the origin of the people who lived in Iran. There's also a Greek root to it. Cool. Yeah, it's not to get too political, but like Iran is before the revolution. Boy, it was a cool place. I've heard stories that before the revolution came, it was the most cosmopolitan. Tehran was just amazing, and then they kind of shut everything down. Before that, it was amazing, and unfortunately, Americans had something to do with that, and that's not good. Something to do with the revolution. But did the video of that song cause most music videos to be recorded in the magnetic tape versus the video of that song caused most music videos? I don't think so. But what's important about Video Killed the Radio Star was that it was the first video played on MTV. So I think a lot of other music videos were shot on film. Like, actually, it was funny. A friend of mine posted a video of "Never Gonna Give You Up, Never Gonna Let You Down." Showed that video, but it was re-encoded into 4K and 60 FPS, and it looks so video-y. But I guarantee you that video was shot on film. Guarantee you that video was shot on film. I think most high-end music videos were shot on film. Actually, it's safe to say, like Safety Dance video, definitely shot on film. That is brilliant. Safety Dance. S-S-S-S-A-A-A-A-F-F-F-E-E-E. Why. Safety Dance. Dung dung dung. Okay, I don't remember how the hook goes. There you go. I deserve a Hollywood Award for contributors to education and development of next film. I was trying to actually get into what's it called? The SEMTI. I was trying not SEMTI. I was trying to get into the what's it called? Dang it. Not some Emmys. I was trying to get into the Emmys, like as a new media person, but I gave up. I think I was trying to figure out how I was able to become a member of the Emmys, so I could go to the Emmy things. But no, I haven't figured out how. Maybe they changed the rules so they add more like media stuff in there. All right, we're going to wrap it up pretty soon here, but let's do a couple more. I'm old enough to remember when they threw the switch to turn on MTV for the first time. Yeah, I'm old enough to. Well, I'm not that old. I'm sorry, but I remember when MTV used to run music videos. Back in the day, are you kidding me? MTV music videos? What the hell are you doing? What the crack are you smoking? They don't run music videos on MTV, John. That's just stupid. I mean, MTV's place for 17 and pregnant shows like that. What am I? Okay, there you go. This is a good one. What are your thoughts about the Mank versus Orwell debate? I saw the movie. I thought the movie was okay. I didn't think it was great. I don't know. I think Mankiewicz probably had a big. Obviously had a bigger role than people give him credit for, and well, maybe not. Maybe people give quite a bit of credit, but I think it definitely a Mankiewicz written script for sure. Orwell obviously had input into it. There's no question about it. I can't imagine once. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze now. I can't imagine that Mankiewicz just wrote that thing entirely by himself. That Orwell had no input. He was just basically following Mank's direction. I think it's silly. That's not how Hollywood works. That's how movies get made. So there's got to be some collaboration somewhere, but I don't know exactly where that line is. Darren asks or says, I like how people considered Safety Dance a one-hit wonder, and then the Pop Goes the World. Oh my gosh, my thing's not working. It's because I don't have it in the foreground. That's why. And then Pop Goes the World was considered a one-hit wonder. Men Without Hats is breaking all the rules. I like Men Without Hats. The great thing about the 80s was it was cool to be weird. Like totally weird. What camera am I lens? I'm using the C200 with a Canon Cinema 24 to 70 f4.4 on there. John, how do I invite YouTuber as a guest, special guest? You can just email me on the website. I got the contact form working again. Good for me. All right. Well, it is 10:50. I have to be in a city and go shoot some city function here at. I have to leave here in about 10 minutes, so I'll just hang out for a few more minutes, and I'll go shoot some. I'll be shooting on a baseball field. That'll be fun. So I'll be shooting with a C70 today. C70 with a Tamron lens today because. Yeah, I like the way it worked last time. I thought it worked well. I'm gonna try it again. Should be good. And look, boy, that C70, beautiful pictures. Oh my gosh, I think the C200 probably rivals. It's pretty good, but the C70, the dynamic range, it gets a little more color out of it. Well, not color, just a little more niceness to it. There you go. I guess looking at the surface, the rich part of society, it was mega awesome. But as soon as you start looking anywhere else other than the capital and time, things get really ugly. That's the way it is right now. Unfortunately, man, L.A., dude. If you go to L.A., oh God, it used to be like Venice Beach and all that stuff was beautiful. But now the homeless situation is so bad that there are streets that are literally like driving down a war zone. And I'm not kidding. It's really, really, really bad. A couple more. Your educational video style. Did you take some inspiration from some specific educational videos? Yeah, a very popular engineer guy was one that we kind of modeled a lot of stuff, including some of the red. I mean, I like red. I've kind of adopted red as my color. But engineer guy was kind of the model for some of our style of videos. And then just just individual stuff. I don't like, for one thing, I don't have is background music. I've discovered that background music is nice, but it can get in the way a lot of times. So that's one of the things that we use. Engineer guy really primarily was one of the main people that I liked. That I kind of not copied, but copied in a homage style way. Oh, film recommendation. Check out Beast Who Cling to Straw. Trust me, you will like it. All right. Beast that. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Venice Beach, home to MacGyver, yes. Don't tell me use the Poop app. Available for, I don't know what the Poop app is. All right. And Zolok says, I'm so glad I don't have background music. So, yeah. So I better get going because otherwise I will hang out here and I will hang out with you guys because I love hanging out with you guys. And I'll be late for my thing. And I don't want to be late, not for these people. There's a city manager here today. So I want to put the music on. And do we have music? There it is. Background music. Oh, yeah, baby. So check it out. I'm working on a video for streaming and trying to figure out how to do a multicam stream. I shot it, so I'll be working on that. Hopefully a week or two, I say, get that out there. It's sponsored by HoloLand Mars. HoloLand Mars wireless transmitters. Just mention out, shout out to those guys. Really good transmitters. I'll talk more about it in the video. And until next week, I'll be back on Wednesday sometime. I don't know when exactly. Until then, we will see you later, guys. Have a great rest of the week. Take care. Bye-bye.